Welcome. I'm your host, Christina Haskin, and tonight we're talking about poetry. I went to the Darien Library to a poetry group, and tonight the guest I have is Madge McKeithen. She was the creator of the one-page poetry circle, and she's also written a wonderful book.
This poem is called Marina, and it's by T.S Eliot. And I chose it, I think, for a discussion we had on poetry and family, I believe, or it may have been fathers, I can't remember exactly. The Latin at the beginning translated is, what is this place, this region, this shore of the world? Marina. Quis hic locus, quae regio, quae mundi plaga? What seas, what shores, what gray rocks and what islands, what water lapping the bow and scent of pine and the wood thrush singing through the fog, what images return, O my daughter? Those who sharpen the tooth of the dog, meaning death, those who glitter with the glory of the hummingbird, meaning death, those who sit in the sty of contentment, meaning death, those who suffer the ecstasy of the animals, meaning death, are become unsubstantial, reduced by a wind, a breath of pine, and the wood-song fog, by this grace dissolved in place. What is this face, less clear and clearer, the pulse in the arm, less strong and stronger, given or lent, more distant than the stars and nearer than the eye? Whispers and small laughter between leaves and hurrying feet, under sleep, where all the waters meet. Bowsprit cracked with ice and paint cracked with heat. I made this. I have forgotten and remember. The rigging weak and the canvas rotten, between one June and another September, made this unknowing, half-conscious, unknown, my own. The garboard strake leaks and the seams need caulking. This form, this face, this life, living to live in a world of time beyond me, let me resign my life for this life, my speech for that unspoken, the awakened, lips parted, the hope, the new ships. What seas, what shores, what granite islands towards my timbers, and wood thrush calling through the fog, my daughter. I think it's profoundly moving. He never had a daughter, which maybe makes it more moving than that. The rhythms and the images are evocative and just really telling for me.
And the questions, I think the questions farther down, and the beautiful repetition and stark repetition of meaning death, meaning death.
That's, I think that's a referencement, and I don't really get why it works in the meaning, but in the sounds and in the rhythm, it seems to, I don't know, sharpen the rest of the, that's so sharp that the rest of it, the fogginess of the rest of it gets even more, brings it into focus.
Or almost even wave-like, the wave-like imagery of it rolling towards you.
Yeah, which is beautiful. The time business about living to live beyond me, the waves continuing. So
it's beautiful.
One of my favorites. So I was glad for the chance to read it.
Thank you.
Fern Beds in Hampshire County by Richard Wilbur. I picked this poem because I had been in Northampton, Massachusetts recently, and I went to the Forbes Library only to discover that Richard Wilbur, Poet Laureate of the United States formerly, was going to be giving a poetry reading, and it was just a treat to hear this man read his poetry. Although from them steep stands of beech and sugar maple stem, varied with birch or ash or basswood trees, which spring will throng with bees, while intervening thickets grow complex with flower, seed, and variance of sex, and the whole wood conspires by change of kind to break the purchase of the gathering mind. The ferns are as they were. Let but a trifling stir of air traverse their pools or touchy beds, and some will dip their heads. Some switch a moment like a scribbling quill and then be still. Sporadic as in guarded bays, the rockweed slaps a bit or sways. Then let the wind grow bluff, and though the sea lies far to eastward, far below, these fluent spines with whipped pale underside will climb through timber as a smoking tide. Through pier stakes, beat their sprays about the base of every boulder, scale its creviced face, and wave on wave, like some green infantry, storm all the slope as high as eye can see. Whatever at the heart of creatures makes them branch and burst apart, or at the core of star or tree may burn at last to turn and make an end of time, these airy plants, tenacious of their prime, dwell in the swept recurrence of an ancient conquest, shaken by first love, as when they answered to the boomed command that the seas green rise up and take the land. The theme this month was green, and of course that was another reason why I selected this poem. But I do think Wilbur captures not only the beauty of the ferns, but the huge strength and power of them.
There's an almost panoramic sweep of vision here that he gives us across the field, and the storm of the slope, and the burgeoning rising again of life at the heart of the creature. And I've always enjoyed, in the 10 months that we were together, that you would bring things that reflected and bounced off against things you had seen in the garden and nature, and was sort of a looking again through the poet's eyes at things that you had experienced. That's beautiful.
I chose this poem by William Wordsworth, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, because the theme was green, and it's a beautiful poem about daffodils in spring. And so here it goes. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, besides the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. The waves besides them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. I like the part of, especially of thinking that you can retrieve the beauty that you've seen when you're in on your couch in another moment, and that how nature is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I just like flowers. So.
And the poem brings it back, brings the experience of it back, and recreates it and gives it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, poetry is a gift that you always have in your head, you know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, wonderful.
Thank you. Take a look at poetry, and maybe you'll find a poetry circle in your library or a poetry group. Good night. Thanks for watching.